Number 1. Your brain starts a horror film without you. You lie down. The room is pitch black. No nightlight, no phone glow, just the pure, uncut void. And then your brain, that creative little gremlin, decides it's showtime. Suddenly, you're thinking about that one time you watched The Ring in 2007. Haven't recovered since. Was that creak just the house settling, or the footsteps of a Victorian child ghost who only appears when you're the most relaxed? Here's the science. In total darkness, your brain doesn't have any visual input, and when there's nothing to process, your brain just starts freelancing. It fills the void with memories, associations, and, oh yes, hallucinations. The part of your brain responsible for detecting threats, the amygdala, gets bored and starts hitting panic buttons like it's playing whack-a-mole. It's not just fear, either. Darkness hijacks your temporal lobe, which messes with time perception. 5 minutes feels like 50. You get stuck in a mental escape room, and every shadow becomes a puzzle you don't want to solve. Basically, your brain becomes a horror movie director when it doesn't get enough sensory input. Zero light cue the soundtrack, dim lighting, maybe just creepy vibes, but total darkness. Oh, you're getting the extended cut. Number 2, your body thinks you're dying kinda. Here's a fun one. Complete darkness makes your body wonder if you're still alive. Yep. Deep, sensory deprivation level darkness can send your nervous system into existential panic mode. Why? Because for most of human history, if it was pitch black, you were either in a cave and something was about to eat you, or B, buried. See, humans evolved under moonlight, firelight, or starlight. Absolute blackness wasn't part of the package. So when you shut off every light source, your body isn't like yay deep sleep. It's more like, did we die? Are we in a box? Your parasympathetic system starts slowing things down, heart rate, breathing like it's prepping for shutdown. And if you're even slightly anxious, that drop in body signals can feel like you're fading into the abyss. Cue the rapid heart rate returning, but now with bonus dread. So next time someone tells you sleeping in total darkness is better for your health, maybe ask them if they've ever tried it without imagining being abducted by shadow people. Number 3, sleep paralysis loves the dark. You wake up, you can't move. There's something standing in the corner. And guess what? It definitely wasn't there when you fell asleep. Welcome to the dark velvet hellscape known as sleep paralysis. And yes, it happens more often in total darkness. Sleep paralysis is what happens when your body is still in REM mode, but your brain wakes up. You're mentally alert, physically frozen, and your brain is still throwing dreams at the wall to see what sticks. When the room is dark, there's no sensory anchor to tell you this isn't real. Your imagination is driving, and it doesn't have a license. This is why people see shadow figures, demons, or someone sitting on their chest, because your brain is desperately trying to make sense of a glitch in the system, and it always seems to land on something horrifying. Not a puppy, not your grandma, a 10-foot-tall hat man with glowing eyes. Science calls it a temporary rematonia episode. You'll call it the worst night of your life. Either way, it happens more in rooms with no visual references. So yeah, go ahead and leave that hallway light on. You'll thank yourself at 3 a.m. Number 4, total darkness is an open invite for auditory hallucinations. Imagine lying in bed when suddenly, click, a sound, a whisper, a faraway thump. Congratulations, your ears have entered goblin mode. When your eyes are robbed of light, your brain leans hard on your other senses, especially hearing. But instead of calmly enhancing your Spotify playlist of ambient rain sounds, it cranks up the sensitivity dial to paranoid squirrel in a haunted forest. Here's the deal. In total darkness, your brain can misinterpret random background noise as something meaningful or threatening. This is called auditory pareidolia, a fancy way of saying your mind hears stuff that isn't there. That buzz from your air purifier could be breathing, that creaky floorboard obvious footsteps from a Victorian librarian who's mad you didn't return Moby Dick. This isn't just an overactive imagination, it's your survival instincts gone wild. The auditory cortex sharpens in darkness, trying to fill in the blanks your eyes left behind. Basically, your brain turns into a conspiracy theorist when it's dark enough. You think you're in silence, but your brain thinks it's night watch in a war zone. Totally the vibe you want before trying to relax. Number 5, you might forget where you are. Total darkness doesn't just mess with your senses, it scrambles your sense of space like a confused raccoon in a department store. You know you're in your room, but take away all visual reference points and your brain goes, are we in the void? Is this what non-existence feels like? Your spatial awareness is heavily visual. Without light, your internal compass basically gets drunk and spins around. You might reach out and feel the edge of your bed and suddenly question if it's your bed. You might hear a noise and lose all directional understanding. You might wake up, open your eyes, and not know which way your face is pointing. This is actually similar to what happens in sensory deprivation tanks. People lose track of their body orientation, time, and identity. But you didn't pay $75 for a trendy isolation pod. You just turned off your bedside lamp and accidentally unlocked a mild identity crisis. Not to mention, when your brain can't locate itself in space, it starts constructing mental space. That's where those weird sensations come from. The feeling that the room is enormous, or that someone's standing behind you, or that you're floating upward. So yeah, you're not just in the dark. You're in a psychological black hole where time, space, and comfort have left the chat. Number 6, your thoughts go feral. No lights, no distractions, no cat videos or fridge trips. Just you and your thoughts. All of them. Every single regret, intrusive memory, awkward conversation, unanswered text, and deep philosophical question you've buried under work emails and online shopping. Turns out total darkness is a psychological pressure cooker. When your external world goes silent, your internal monologue becomes the DJ, and that DJ is having a breakdown. Your default mode network, the part of your brain active during rest and introspection, lights up like a Christmas tree in darkness. That's great for creativity, but also perfect for catastrophic thinking. Why? Because you have nothing else to look at or distract yourself with. It's just you and the full high-definition replays of every time you mispronounced quinoa in public. And the worst part, the longer you're in the dark, the more vivid the thoughts become. People stuck in long-term darkness, like cave explorers or solitary confinement inmates, report hallucinations, emotional breakdowns, and full-blown identity unraveling. So if you're lying there thinking, why did I remember that thing I said in 3rd grade? It's not you. It's your brain having a blackout rave of emotional chaos. Number 7, melatonin turns you into a soft zombie. Ah, yes, melatonin, the so-called sleep hormone that everyone buys in gummy form like it's candy for grown-ups. It's true that melatonin production increases in darkness, which sounds like a good thing until you realize what it actually does to your body. When you are in total darkness, your brain cranks out melatonin like it's preparing for winter hibernation. That's not just sleepy. That's, I forgot how legs work. Your limbs get heavy, your temperature drops, and your motivation to do literally anything disappears. Melatonin is nature's sedative, but it doesn't come with an off switch. It keeps you in a dazed state even after you wake up. Ever had one of those mornings where you open your eyes and still feel like a slow-moving marshmallow? Yeah, blame the darkness-induced melatonin flood. Also, too much melatonin can mess with your circadian rhythm, especially if you're exposed to it in unpredictable doses, like sleeping in total blackness one night, then next to your glowing iPad, the next. Your body doesn't know if it's midnight or midlife crisis. So while some say embrace the darkness, just remember your brain might interpret that as shut down like an old laptop. Number 8, your nightmares get upgraded. Bad dreams are one thing, but bad dreams that emerge from a sensory vacuum. That's the premium nightmare package with surround sound and emotional damage. There's a reason why nightmares tend to be more intense in complete darkness. When you're deprived of light, your sleep cycles shift, and REM sleep, the stage where dreams happen, can become more erratic. Combine that with an anxious mind and a horror-fueled amygdala, and you're basically broadcasting live from your subconscious dumpster fire. And here's the kicker in darkness. Your body's ability to regulate temperature also changes slightly. A subtle chill, a drop in comfort, and boom, your dreams get darker. Scientists call this a thermoceptive trigger, but let's be real. It's just your brain using physical discomfort to design interactive suffering. Worse yet, total darkness means there's nothing to wake you up. No headlights passing by, no hallway glow, no visual interruption to pull you out of the nightmare. You're trapped, Inception style. Except the dream isn't about spinning tops, it's about your teeth falling out while a swarm of faceless people chase you through a meat freezer. So if you thought you were brave for turning off every light in the house, congrats, you've just given your nightmares a blank canvas. Number 9, your primal fear settings. Get triggered. Somewhere in your caveman brain is a setting labeled Activate Panic if Blind. It's ancient, buried deep in your limbic system, and total darkness is the on switch. This isn't just fear of the dark, it's fear of the unknown. And your ancestors weren't wrong. Back then, darkness meant danger, predators, cliffs, and other humans with clubs. Those who weren't terrified of the dark probably didn't live long enough to pass on their genes. So now here you are, fully evolved in a safe apartment, convinced your laundry chair is a demon. Studies show that darkness heightens our startle response and increases cortisol, your stress hormone. Your heart beats faster. You flinch at sounds. You tense up like a squirrel near a leaf blower. Even children display this biological default. They're not afraid of monsters under the bed because of cartoons. They're born with an evolutionary alert system that says, if you can't see it, assume it's trying to eat you. So while your logical brain is like, we're fine, your primal brain is hiding under a metaphorical blanket clutching an imaginary spear. Welcome to the species. Number 10. You start seeing stuff that's not there. Let's talk about the visual acid trip your brain goes on when you stare into complete blackness for too long. You're lying in bed, eyes open, no light anywhere, and suddenly there's movement. A flicker. A shape. Wait, did something just crawl across the ceiling? Nope, just your brain hallucinating again. Total darkness creates the perfect canvas for your visual cortex to lose its mind. It's called the Ganzfeld effect, and it happens when your brain is starved for visual input. In response, it starts generating its own images like a bored kindergartner with a crayon and no adult supervision. Some people see swirling lights, some see colors or faces. Some just get that feeling of being watched, which ironically makes your brain double down on inventing someone to do the watching. It's the psychological version of, if you build it, they will come. But instead of baseball players, it's shadow people. And here's the fun kicker: the longer you're in the dark, the more your brain ramps up the imagery. It's like a screensaver from hell. So if you thought the scariest part of total darkness was not seeing anything surprise, your brain fixed that for you. Number 11. Your internal clock starts gaslighting you. Your body has a circadian rhythm, a built-in 24-hour clock that says things like, time to sleep, or wake up, and panic scroll your phone. But that internal clock doesn't work on willpower. It runs on light. When you sleep in total darkness without any morning light, your circadian rhythm becomes unreliable. You might wake up feeling groggy at noon or bolt up at 3 a.m., convinced it's lunchtime. You'll have no idea what day it is. Time becomes a joke, and your brain is the punchline. In fact, experiments in dark environments like caves or isolation rooms show that people quickly start operating on a 25-hour day or more. That 1 extra hour per day adds up fast. After a week, your body thinks it's Friday when it's actually Wednesday. You're late for everything and early for nothing. And if you rely on alarms instead of sunlight, guess what? You're now playing Russian roulette with your mood, productivity, and digestion. Yep, your stomach also has a light-sensitive clock. Eat cereal at 9 p.m., and your gut is like, why are we doing breakfast in hell? So total darkness might seem peaceful, but over time it turns your internal systems into unreliable narrators. Number 12. Your brain gets too restful, and that's a problem. Here's a twist: sometimes total darkness actually works. You fall asleep faster, you sleep deeper, and when you wake up, you're exhausted. What gives? Turns out total darkness can lead to increased deep sleep, but not necessarily better sleep. Your body stays in the most physically restorative stage longer, but if your brain doesn't get enough REM, the dream stage, you wake up feeling like a 200-year-old potato with a hangover. REM sleep is crucial for emotional regulation, memory consolidation, and feeling like a functioning human. But when you overdose on deep sleep, it's like you gave your body a massage and forgot to pay your brain. The result: foggy thinking, mood swings, and a strong urge to crawl back into bed forever. So if you've ever had a night of perfect darkness and still woke up feeling like a pancake hit by a bus, now you know why. Too much rest can be just as disorienting as too little, because apparently sleep is a Goldilocks situation, and your brain is a diva. Number 13. Your anxiety has nowhere to go. During the day, you've got distractions, emails, errands, doom scrolling, a mild caffeine addiction. But in total darkness, with the world on mute and your phone mercifully out of reach, your anxiety looks around and goes, excellent center stage. With zero sensory input and no external stimulation, your brain turns inward. And if you are even slightly prone to overthinking, welcome to the emotional gladiator arena. every unprocessed fear, insecurity, or what if you buried under microwave popcorn and TikToks rises up like it's auditioning for a reboot of Inside Out but rated R. This is called cognitive hyperarousal. It's when your brain decides instead of sleeping, let's spiral about rent mortality. And that weird thing your coworker said 4 months ago? It's incredibly unhelpful and extremely common in dark, quiet environments. Especially if you're already wired with high sensitivity insomnia or a brain that thinks bedtime is the perfect moment to relive every failure you've ever had. And because there's nothing to visually anchor you, your worries don't just think, they manifest. Physical symptoms kick in. Racing heart, shallow breath, the feeling of impending doom, which is a clinical term for your brain, is yelling at itself in the dark. So yeah, sleeping in pure blackness may seem healthy until you realize your anxiety just got promoted to night shift manager. Number 14. Darkness literally changes your brain waves. Let's get a little freaky with the neuroscience. In total darkness, your brain's electrical activity actually shifts. It slows down. That may sound nice, like a meditation app, but it's not always helpful. Darkness increases delta and theta waves, the kind associated with deep sleep, dreaming, and trance states. But too much of those for too long, you start drifting into cognitive fog territory. Decision-making, alertness, reaction time, they all get worse. Basically, you become that one NPC who walks into a wall over and over. And here's the creepy part, theta waves are also associated with hallucinations and altered consciousness. That's right, your brain starts behaving like it's on the edge of dreaming, even when you're technically awake. This is why people in sensory deprivation tanks report vivid visions, emotional breakthroughs, or full-on spiritual experiences. Now imagine getting that without paying for the spa session. Just you, your bed, and your slowly unraveling sense of reality. So yeah, darkness isn't just passive, it's active. It messes with your internal frequency like a cosmic radio tuner, and sometimes the station it lands on is just static and screaming. Number 15. Darkness makes you more suggestible. Here's one last spicy twist. When you're in total darkness, your psychological defenses drop, and that makes you way more open to suggestion belief, and even paranoia. In psychology, this is tied to sensory modulation and trust pathways in the brain. When you can't rely on your senses, your brain becomes more reliant on external cues. If someone tells you there's something under the bed while you're in a lit room, you might laugh. Tell you that same thing in total darkness, and suddenly you're gripping the blankets like a medieval knight. This is why horror movies work better in the dark, why cult leaders love dim rooms, why kids are convinced the closet is haunted at night. Darkness erodes certainty and sharpens fear. And when your brain is uncertain, it becomes sponge-like, soaking up fear belief and vibes with zero filtration. So the next time you try sleeping in total blackness for the health benefits, just know that you're also becoming a more anxious, hallucinating, sleep-paralyzed, time-warped version of yourself, which sure could be great for personal growth or your villain origin story. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.